Late one night in the year 1910, a luxury railcar waited in silence at a New Jersey station. Inside, a secret meeting that would reshape the United States economy forever. They told the public it was just a duck hunting trip. But 6 of the most powerful men in America weren't carrying rifles for sport. They were carrying the blueprint for a new financial empire, and no one could know who they really were. At that moment in history, America's financial system was broken. Panic after panic, banks collapsing, the people lost. There was no Federal Reserve, no central bank, just chaos, and John Pierpont Morgan, a private citizen, stepping in to save the system with his own money. By the year 1907, it was clear. The old system wasn't just unstable, it was dangerous. Congress knew reform was urgent, but any plan backed by Wall Street would be dead on arrival. Done. So Senator Nelson Aldrich made a decision. In the year 1908, Congress passed the Aldrich-Vreeland Act, creating the National Monetary Commission to study banking reform. Aldrich, one of the most powerful senators of the era, and John D. Rockefeller Jr.'s father-in-law, led the charge. For 2 years, the commission studied central banks in Europe, but by the year 1910, still no plan, still no consensus. So Aldrich did what most politicians wouldn't dare. He organized a secret meeting. Far away from Washington, away from the press, and away from public outrage, 6 men boarded Aldrich's private railcar under the cover of night. They used first names only: Nelson, Harry Frank, Paul, Pyatt, and Arthur. Even the train staff didn't know their real identities. By morning, the railcar was quietly uncoupled in rural Georgia. Then, the men boarded a boat to a private island most Americans had never heard of, Jekyll Island. A hidden retreat owned by America's wealthiest families. Thanks to John Pierpont Morgan, the place was locked down. On Thanksgiving Day, November the 24th, in the year 1910, the group began their work. Not carving turkey, but carving the future of American money. This wasn't conspiracy theory. It was confirmed years later by the men who were there. The attendees: Paul Warburg, European banking expert, partner at Kuhn, Loeb and Company; Henry Davison, senior partner at John Pierpont Morgan and Company; Frank Vanderlip, president of National City Bank, which is now Citibank; Benjamin Strong, vice president at Bankers Trust, later head of the New York Federal Reserve; Abram Piatt Andrew, assistant secretary of the Treasury, plus Aldrich's private secretary and Charles D. Norton. Inside the Jekyll Island clubhouse, they worked for a full week. Curtains closed, notes burned, no trace. They designed a plan for a new central banking system, with a central reserve authority and 15 regional branches, regional control by local bankers, with big banks holding more votes, a flexible national currency, and a central body that would act as lender of last resort. But the most powerful feature: it was run by bankers. Wall Street's fingerprints were on the entire system. So the group made a pact. No one would speak of it, ever. Back in Washington, Aldrich presented the plan. It was called the Aldrich Plan. But politics interfered. Democrats rewrote it, added public oversight, renamed it the Glass-Owen Bill. By December the 23rd, in the year 1913, the Federal Reserve Act was passed. Just before Christmas, and the United States finally had a central bank, a bank born from a secret meeting on a private island. For decades, no one knew the truth. Not until the 1930s, when Paul Warburg and Frank Vanderlip finally admitted it. By then, the damage, or the transformation, was done. The Federal Reserve became the invisible engine behind every dollar in your pocket. All from one private gathering. One silent railcar. One island no one was meant to know. But what if this was just the beginning? If the Federal Reserve was born in secret? What other forces are shaping your money right now? Behind closed doors,